Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Breaking the Fourth Wall. By the time this reaches you and from recording, it will be May the 4th. So, May the 4th be with you, everybody. Today we got a full panel. I am Chris Wilde, joined along with my normal panelists, Eric Batista.
Hello, everyone.
Christina Talley.
How y'all doing?
Matt Cruz.
What's up, people?
And two special guests from the, as soon as my phone wants to work, from the YouTube channel Star Wars Canon Library, we have Brian.
Hey, what's up, guys?
As well as s2e14 Mario.
Hey, guys.
Also, myself, Matt, Brian, and Mario have just launched on YouTube War of the Stars, along with the host of War of the Stars, Mark Tully, who couldn't join us today. So make sure you're checking that out. That releases on Thursdays as well, besides ours. But I know it's 2 days ahead for us right now, but it is the May the 4th. It is Star Wars Day. And we're going to do our final, hopefully, not.
Where's your cup?
So, gentlemen, do we have anything you want to start off with, or shall I the first?
Where is your cup?
Out there.
No, it's not.
Hey, babe, where's your cup?
Eric, where's your damn cup?
Yeah, where's your cup? It was in the kitchen. It's where I left it. coming to home.
We're so professional.
To living
here,
near
aren't
you.
we?
Here you are. So again, anybody want to bring anything up, or shall we go straight to the first topic?
Let's shoot from the hip. Let's go.
All right. First topic I wanted to bring up was, Episode 9. Disney and Lucasfilm has announced a release date for Episode 9, returning the Star Wars saga to May. Guys, my question to the panel. First off, is this a good move, knowing that Han Solo's solo movie is going to be in May, and now the untitled Episode 9 will be in May? Is this Disney just trying to take back May after their success in December? Or is this an idea, like I had mentioned earlier to Matt, of moving the saga back to May and maybe putting the spin-off movies in December, allowing for 2 movies a year? Your thoughts? Ryan, you look like you're ready to go first, so go ahead.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you about the spin-offs having their own release date, and then the saga films having the summer. That does make a lot of sense to me. I really do see them going 2 films a year at some point. That's all they can do. To satisfy Star Wars fans at this point. Granted, we have 1 movie a year coming out at this point, but if they went to 2, that's just printing money for Disney at this point. And really, I do see them doing saga films in May and then spin-offs in December. I really do. That makes a lot of sense to me.
All right.
So what is the real reason why they're pushing it back to May? Is there any explanation? Do they have for us?
No. No. Right now, so as it's set up, is obviously Episode 8, The Last Jedi, releases in December. And then the following Han Solo movie releases in May, and then you wait a year for Episode 9 to release in May.
I think the major reason they're doing it, I kind of like the idea, especially if their release date does fall on May the 4th. I think that'd be really kind of awesome, personally.
I don't think it's May the 4th. I think they did give a date. I believe it was like May the 17th or 25th or something of that nature. We definitely looked that up. They did give the exact date, but it's just the fact that they were on.
Well, hang on, I'm on it.
Well, personally, I like it. I'm a traditionalist like that. I agree with you. Let it be, let it just be. It's almost like its own holiday at this point. It's for nerds and geeks and fans of Star Wars alike. It's like you'd go to this. This would be okay. This is our month. We're gonna take it. Everybody gets their little piece of the pie. Why not us? We've been fans of this franchise. These films, the books, everything. Everything they put out, we've taken a look at. So why not give us exactly at this point? We're not asking much. Heck, if anything, that takes the pressure off you guys a little bit. because we know we'll watch it. We'll sit there. We'll give it a go. But we know that their whole. I mean, with Rogue One coming out, it shows that it's Lucas's films. As much as some of us are begrudging because it is Disney, and we all know how we all feel. Some of us feel about Disney, but we know that it's in the right hands. It's in the right hands.
Wait, Mike, I have a question. What do we feel about Disney? I grew up with Disney. I love Disney movies. I love showing Disney movies to my kids. Now, if you're talking Disney Channel, then yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that's more what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The films undeniably have their charm, their everything that, you know, to the ones we grew up on, to the ones that we're kids today. I mean, other than that, I'm kind of skeptical with Disney. I'm like, stick to what you're good at.
Well,
you know?
at this point, it isn't even really Disney making the movies. It's still Lucasfilm. It's just Disney writing the checks at this point. That's really all it is. So, but hey, by the way, I got that release date. It's May 23rd.
May 23rd.
Yeah, it's May 23rd. So, but no, it's not even. I've always looked at it as Disney's not the ones actually making the movies. If they were, you'd see a big Disney logo at the beginning of the new Star Wars movies. It's still Lucasfilm. It's just Disney bought Lucasfilm. That's all it is. So
well, I will say that scared the hell out of me when Disney first bought it.
Same here.
Everybody's heart dropped.
I think we lost Eric, by the way.
Yeah, I think he froze.
Glitching. It's all right. He'll be back. He's a fighter. He ain't gonna quit on us tonight.
All right, but Matt, to finish your point, do you feel that it could possibly be the move to do saga films in May and the spin-off movies in December, or are they just taking back May?
Absolutely, because that's definitely a move for the fans, for the nostalgia feeling, for the traditionalist. It definitely speaks to us, so we'll definitely go to it. And for as far as it being the spin-off movies in Christmas, why not a Christmas present to all the Star Wars fans? Yeah, we're kind of paying for it, but it's going to be for us. So we're going to go out there, we're going to take our kids and let's go see the Star Wars spin-off movie. Come on, let's go. It's Christmas. Why, we don't have to open presents tonight. It's not Christmas Day. Let's go out and we'll go watch a movie as a family. Something that, we know we're going to all understand.
Hey, Matt, or Mario, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Playing off of this statement, we'll get your opinion on that. Do you think the reason they have finally gave an announcement of May 23rd for Episode 9 is because this coming D23 they will actually announce for a December release following Episode 9 an Obi-Wan spin-off movie?
Okay. I do think that the Obi-Wan movie is going to happen. I really think it is the spin-off movie after Episode 9. But I don't know if it's going to be released in December. I do agree with your guys' points that, yeah, over time, eventually, it will become 2 movies a year. I think that's inevitable. But I don't think it's going to happen until after the last spin-off movie, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, your guys' points are correct. That they want to really own the entire year. They want to own the summer movie season, and they want to own the season, the Christmas season as well. But for my opinions on the move, I'm actually a little bit more excited that it's going back to May. Just for the fact that, when Star Wars does come out in December, I'm pretty sure I speak for all of us here, we all go broke. Money for gifts and all that. And then all the toys, all the new merchandise comes out. It kind of gives me a little break to save some more money,
Right.
But yeah, I think it just goes back for nostalgia, going back to May.
All right. Christina, let me play the devil's advocate with you. Do you feel that the move to May with Episode 9 is because of the fact that Episode 9 will be the end of the Skywalker saga? Not saying that there won't be other saga films, but they will no longer be the Skywalker lineage.
I think it very well could be that, once again, Disney's trying to reclaim May. What better way of reclaiming May for Lucasfilm than taking back May with the final film? I think it'll open up a door. If it's successful, it'll open up a lot more doors for them to release other Saga films in May, like you were saying.
Okay. Eric, how you feeling on this? Do you like the move back to May and tradition, or do you think that they, proven with Force Awakens and Rogue One, that they can own December and go up against the heavyweights like Avatar and Marvel films that usually claim those spots? Do you think this is a good move by Lucasfilm, or do you think this is
We got GLaDOS going here?
Wow.
I know.
I hate you. Be careful, the elevator has a weight capacity, and you exceed it.
The cake is a lie.
I was just
And
about
we
to say
have
that.
cake. And at the end, there will be cake. But you won't get any cake, because you're bad.
See, folks, we try to give you an authentic Star Wars experience. We're in the cantina right now talking to Hondo Baba.
I know, right?
Hey, so Eric, my question for you is, are you ever going to buy, like, actual high-speed internet? You're going to keep with the dial-up?
Not mail.
Man, he sounds like R2-D2's having a freaking seizure.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me throw this out there, guys. Movies that are coming out in May of 2019 right now, these are only the ones that have been announced. This is what Episode 9 is going to be up against. It's going to be Avengers 4, which is also a Disney property. Ugly Dolls, whatever that is, and the Minecraft movie. So right now, Episode 9 is not really up against anything at this point.
Except for maybe the Avengers movie.
Except maybe the Avengers. But even then, Disney, it's a win-win for Disney, whether they...
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
They're going to dominate May with those two movies alone.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that they're even making a Minecraft movie. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a little sad.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, wait. But the My Little Pony movie and the Angry Birds movie and the sad attempt at a third Smurfs movie, they're okay.
Hey, leave,
Yeah.
leave My Little Pony out of this.
Yeah.
All right.
Just for that, I'm rocking my Little Pony leggings when I come up for the live show. What
There you go, Eric.
the heck was that?
What was that?
Oh my god.
But
I feel for him
all right,
some days.
so I don't know if Eric's got his technical issues handled out.
I'm guessing not.
I'm not.
I'm thinking,
We'll come back to Eric when we know he's got his skipping going handled.
Hold on.
Boy, that's a sound I haven't heard in a while.
God, I remember that sound.
Back when the internet had a voice.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow. Still as annoying now as it was back then.
Yeah, pretty
No
much.
kidding.
Ladies and gentlemen, this edition of Breaking the Fourth Wall brought to you by Zedge app.
Actually, that was off of YouTube.
And AOL.
And yeah, that was off of YouTube. You know what the really sad part is? Not to get distracted, but there are actual AOL dial-up servers still in operation.
I think a Sat Earthlink still at like Target. Like the little disc to actually install the service. All right. Again, it's all that Eric's his technical issues handled. We'll go ahead and move on.
All right.
The next thing I wanted to bring up, I was playing earlier with my mail order 83 Palpatine with you guys, and it made me think about merchandise. And back in the day, obviously, Star Wars was always big around for all of us when we were kids. Whether it was the original Kenner toys, you know, the infamous empty box collection when Episode 4 first came out, all the way through the Power of the Force collection and blah, blah, blah. But nowadays, you find Star Wars packaged on everything.
Mhm.
You guys think that merchandising has always been kind of overabundant and out of control, or has Disney really kind of taken it to the next level of how they're marketing this product and this franchise?
Well, I'll go first. I think Disney is doing a really good job of marketing, but I do think they're taking it a bit too far. Especially with Rogue One. I mean, there was advertisements for everything of Star Wars. There was Star Wars water, Star Wars cars, everything. Everywhere you look, there was Star Wars. I think it got to the point where it was a little bit too much, especially with those Target ads with the kids as Jyn Erso and I think Cassian. Yeah, I think it's the point where it goes a little bit too much, but I mean, overall, at least what they're doing correct is making sure that people know that Star Wars is back and it's a force to be reckoned with.
All right. Matt, what do you think is pushing the line in merchandising today?
Well,
are you cool? Little kid dressed up as Darth Vader trying to start his dad's car?
It wouldn't surprise me anymore. To be quite honest, I've always been a collector. I mean, I've had my collection of parts and pieces here and there. According to I give a shout out to Mojo.com. They were the #1 franchise brand with Star Wars. I mean, they have Star Wars everything. If you go on ThinkGeek.com, good God. And before Disney got their hands on it, Star Wars merchandise was everywhere to begin with. So I don't think it's really even Disney taking advantage of it at all. It was always going to be there. If anything, they made maybe some more plushies. If anything, that's about it. Heck, my wife even has a BB-8 plushie.
Mhm.
I will say one thing about merchandising: stay away from the R2D2 USB hub, the one for your car, because that thing was a piece of junk. Yes, I had it, and the lights went out on it in a month, and the head kept jamming up on it, so it was kind of annoying after a while.
All right, Christina, I'll go to you then. How much is too much? I mean, do we really need 4 cans of soup?
Yeah, I think they did go a little far. Well, the cans of soup is one thing, especially if it's not just, as long as it's not just like regular chicken noodle soup that they slap the Star Wars label on. Like, there's been many times where they've made, like, SpaghettiOs, but they'll make Star Wars SpaghettiOs where there'll be, like, little Imperial logos and little X-Wings and stuff like that. That's cool. I'm all for that. But they did get a little much with it with Rogue One. I mean, Nissan jumped all over it, and then they had the Rogue One edition Rogue. It's like, okay, I didn't see that coming. I mean,
I remember that.
All right, Brian.
we need to kill Eric's feet or something, because it sounds like
Eric,
GLaDOS having an orgasm.
No kidding.
Food. If you can hear me, I'll just come out and reboot and you can come back in. Brian, do you think it's time they finally release a hand puppet of Yoda for ventriloquists to use on stage?
I'm sure if you looked online, you would find one.
I'm sure.
Because, I mean, they've literally made anything possible that you can think of that is Star Wars themed. If you get on the Geek app, there is so much stuff on there that I didn't even know ever existed. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, anything Star Wars at all. And I think it's something, this is part of the genius of George Lucas, is back in the 70s, when he was selling his movie, he said he wanted merchandising rights, and Fox is like, you can have that, whatever. This isn't going to be anything. You just take it, go with it. And then it was this giant cultural phenomenon, and that's where he's made all of his billions, is off the toys. The only downfall to that is that, he started making characters for the movies like the Ewoks just to sell toys. That's the problem. But as far as merchandising goes nowadays, like you guys were talking about, like the Nissan Rogue, the Rogue One edition. Holy crap! Like, really? You're making a Star Wars car? At least make it look like an X-wing or something. I mean, at least make it look like something cool. But I mean, as far as like just toys in general, there was, and I'm sure Mario would know what I'm talking about. I mean, growing up in the era he did with the prequels. Before the prequels came out, there really weren't a whole lot of Star Wars toys out anymore. They kind of died off in the late 90s with the Power of the Force series. And then you really didn't see a lot of Star Wars stuff anymore until Episode 1 came out, and then boom, there they were again. So I don't think it has anything to do with just Star Wars in general putting out merchandise. It's just they know that fans are excited about the movies. They know that there are grown adults like me who will go out and spend the money on this stuff and leave it in the package and put it on your wall. And and it's, and they know it's just printing free money at this point. And I think that's really all it is. Everybody knows the Star Wars movies are coming out. They could produce not a single toy, not put a single trailer out, and they're still going to fill theaters with Star Wars movies with Star Wars movies.
The one thing which I did have a kind of an issue with the merchandising for The Force Awakens was how they handled the promotion. Like, as far as we all know that Rey was the lead character, was pretty much the lead character of the movie. However, when you looked at the toy promotion, Rey was marketed like a back character, if at all.
And it was more Finn.
It was more Finn, and that was kind of like annoying looking back at it at this point.
Yeah.
I think the only thing about Finn that was kind of misleading was with the way they marketed him in the commercials and stuff of that nature. People expected him to be a traitor stormtrooper, which he was, but they expected him to all of a sudden be this badass Jedi, and not a Jedi. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people complain of the fact that he's not a Jedi. Why can't he be a Jedi? That's not supposed to be the story, but it was implanted in your head with the way the marketing had gone.
Yeah. And actually, I agree with that completely. For the there's one piece of evidence that backs up what you said, and it's the smoking gun. With the 6-inch Black Series figure of Rey, before The Force Awakens came out, when she packaged, it was just her, BB-8, and her staff. And then as soon as the movie hit, it was her, BB-8, the staff, and Luke's lightsaber. And that's exactly what it goes exactly with what you were saying.
Well, it looks like we have Eric back.
Well, you know what, Eric? We're going to jump back to you in a second, but this merchandising thing brought up a question I want to propose to you guys. When I made the joke about the Yoda puppet to you, Brian. Episode 8, there's a lot of rumor going around that we're obviously going to see a Force ghost. In fact, if you watch the original trailer, the scene where Rey is swinging around the lightsaber on Ahch-To's mountainside with Luke training her, there is speculation that on top of the rock you see Yoda standing. Do you think Yoda will appear as a Force ghost in The Last Jedi, and even more so with if they do bring Yoda back, with the way they've been kind of campaigning of going back to practical effects as opposed to CGI, do you think Yoda will return to being a puppet if he does appear in Episode 8?
Who wants to go first?
I know.
Right?
All right, I'll go first. No, it's going to be a puppet Yoda. I'm almost. I'll put my firstborn on it. It's going to be a puppet Yoda. As far as, because actually the picture you're talking about is my desktop on my screen right now, and I'm looking at it. And I'm looking right at it. I don't think that's actually Yoda on top of that rock. I just don't. Matter of fact, who was it? Was it Ryan Johnson tweeted out the pic of that rock after everybody started running with that, and said, "Hey," but even from the other angle, it didn't look like that at all. Right. So I don't know. I do believe we're going to see Yoda in Episode 8. So far, we heard his voice in Episode 7. We heard his voice in the trailer for Episode 8. Hell, we even heard both Obi-Wans in Episode 7. We heard Ewan McGregor's and Alec Guinness's. So I think they are going to bring in Force Ghost Yoda. Matter of fact, he was supposed to be in 7 and they cut it. He was supposed to be talking to Luke when Rey walked up to him for the first time, and they cut it out of the movie. And as far as Frank Oz, he's been asked about his work on Episode 8, and he said, "I just can't talk about it. They've told me not to say anything." So I don't want to say that's a smoking gun evidence, but that sounds like something Lucasfilm would tell somebody who's involved with something.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you weren't involved, you simply say no. If you're trying to mislead, you could just simply say no. To say, "I'm not going to talk about it," means they've talked to you about something.
Right.
One way or shape or form, we're going to find out the truth. So, everything's on the web. You know, they can't keep secrets anymore. Yeah, you got hackers out there that want to know deep to find out the truth.
Well, Disney is good at and Lucasfilm especially are good at keeping things under wraps.
Oh yeah.
From misleading titles of the Star Wars franchise to their non-disclosure agreements were perfect example, Mark Hamill with The Force Awakens. Mm-hmm. They were so afraid that he would leak something that his non-disclosure was not only would he get sued if he spoke about it, but he would forego any money he would make from this film.
Right.
Including merchandising or anything else of the character of Luke Skywalker whatsoever, if he uttered one word. So I mean, Disney's pretty good at keeping things under wraps.
I'd actually like to see the Force Ghost of Yoda. I would absolutely, it'd be perfect. But I'm with Brian. I don't think that's Yoda on the Rock. I think it's going to be a character to be determined. Once for this film, it could be anything. Maybe a connection to some other Jedi. Maybe an information runner. Know what I'm saying? Maybe. I mean, because we do know about what happened with Kylo Ren. Who's to say? Once again, maybe some Jedi got away.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? It could be just an information runner. It could be anything. But to say that's Yoda. No, I think we would have seen the blue glow. We would have seen the ghostly glow.
Right.
There's no way they would have darkened that shadow out. Even if they would have tried to darken the shit, they would have to totally blob it out. That's not him. And it would be a puppet because Phantom Menace Yoda, the CGI Yoda, just didn't work. It didn't.
No.
Phantom Menace, I think it worked better than the puppet they used because they didn't use what Yoda looked like.
Well, they went back and replaced the puppet Yoda in Episode 1 with the digital on the Blu-ray.
It looked a lot. It looked a hell of a lot better.
A lot better. Yes, it did.
Looked a hell of a lot better. But Yoda, definitely bring him back. I mean, we knew he was a Force ghost by the end of Return of the Jedi, so bring him back. When we all think of the Grand Master of all, Yoda does come to like the top of the list.
Yeah.
He's up there with Mr. Miyagi. I mean, come on.
Christina, let me paint the scene for you here. Luke is standing on top of the hillside of Ahch-To trying to teach Form 5 to Rey. And all of a sudden a blue spirit appears out of nowhere, and there stands a CGI Force Ghost Yoda that says, "No, Luke, step aside, let me show you how it's done." And he starts hopping around like in Episode 2.
First of all, okay, let me do some corrections here. First of all, Yoda would never say that, okay? It's like, not how you do it, is. I show you I will. It'll be something more along those lines. So get your stuff right there. Posters, I don't think they would be stupid enough to do CGI. I think they would go back to puppets, especially after seeing Episode 7 and their mass utilization of using puppets over CGI again. I have a lot of hope, and I really feel if they bring Yoda into Episode 8, that it will be a puppet Yoda.
All right. Mario.
Okay, well, first, I don't think that is Yoda up on the rock. I just, for two reasons. One, if you're Yoda and you're there with your buddy Luke, I really don't think you're going to be that far from him. When you hang out with your friends, you're not standing on a rock away from them. You're standing next to them to talk. And then I just think maybe, to Matt's point, if it is a being of sorts, like an actual being, what if it's Yaddle?
Whoa, there you go. Wow, there you go.
We could all be dead wrong, though, and the movie come out and that actually be Yoda, and we're all going to be like, "Oh."
Or more likely, it's just a rock.
Or it's just a rock, yeah.
Or they could pull a Rogue One and not use it at all.
That's entirely... If they don't put that shot in the movie, I'm going to be severely hacked off. I mean, seriously, that was, when I did my trailer reaction for that trailer, that was the one shot that I just fell in love with, was when that thing comes around the corner. I loved it.
Yes.
Speaking of, guys, if you haven't seen his reaction to The Last Jedi, trailer, go look it up. I'll link it to the video on YouTube. It is classic. It's one thing to watch trailer reactions of other people, but when you know the person, it just makes it that special.
Oh, I'm gonna put it. I'll put it on. I'm gonna let my wife and my daughter check this one out.
How you doing?
Eric, let me paint the scene for you. Ray's running across the top of Octu, doing flips and everything else, and all of a sudden a ghostly figure, backpack with a Yoda hanging out of it, is on her back saying, "Faster! Faster! Read! Dark side they are!" You think they'll recreate Luke's face as the ghost?
My little Padawan. Go ahead, EJ.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing good.
So, what were you doing today?
Working.
All right. He's got a phone call,
He
so we'll
doesn't
move
know
on.
how to work.
I love you.
I love you too, EJ.
Bye.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Night, EJ.
All right.
Bye, EJ.
Life
All
goals
right,
right there.
All right, Eric, so what do you think? We're going to see a ghostly backpack appear on Ray with Yoda hanging off the back just like Dagobah?
It would be cool to see that. I mean, he is dead, so you know. Yeah, I think I would really like to see a Yoda teaching her to trick, you know, the Jedi mind way.
Hey, what if that's why Rey's breathing so hard in the Last Jedi trailer? Like, when as soon as she goes down, like she's in the cave talking to Luke, and all of a sudden Yoda pops up, he's like, "Hello," and she's like, "Ghost guy," and like falls out, out of the.
I don't know why. All I can think is when you said that was like Scooby Doo, was just Shaggy when the ghost pops up.
Oh yes,
That's all I can think of.
That's what you don't see. That's what you don't see in the scene. In the scene, they're in the cave. They're in a deep meditation. All of a sudden, Yoda decides to play a joke. Appears out of nowhere. "Hi, I say." Luke, not even expecting it, jumps into Rey's arm. They go hauling out of the cave. She trips and throws Luke, and that's where the hand lands. And you see her.
Oh God!
I just thought of that one meme that popped up after episode 7, where it was they took the scenes from the end of episode 7, where it goes where it has Rey showing Luke the lightsaber, and Luke's like, "Where's the hand? There was a hand with that."
Yeah. Well, going back on topic though, I think if they were to do a CGI Yoda, of course I think Yoda should be involved with it. Mm-hmm. But if they were going to do a CGI Yoda, I'm kind of making jokes with it and everything else, but that's kind of something I would want to see. One of the things I missed about Yoda in the prequels, and especially in like Return of the Jedi, but he was dying in Return of the Jedi, is I missed the mischievous Yoda. And I think when he's no longer got the cares of like living, he's part of the Force now. I think he would be very playful and maybe try to help alleviate the tensions, especially with the way Luke is brooding right now.
Well,
and stuff like that.
I think the Empire Yoda was the best. Just how he was like screwing with Luke from the minute Luke landed on Dagobah was just classic. I mean, he was just—you could tell he was just straight up trolling him.
Yeah. He's the same way in the Clone Wars series also.
Oh yeah. But in Empire, when he was sitting there having the tug of war with R2 and beating him with the cane, mine. That's the Yoda I want. Even though he's a Force ghost, that's the Yoda I want. A playful Yoda.
But even at the same time, he still dropped knowledge. He even still dropped knowledge at the same time. So that war does not make one great, which is a great line if you think about it.
Yeah.
I guess I always see Yoda as the sage, not always as the prankster. Even though that part of Yoda in the beginning was always so funny to watch, and like, this is gonna be great. Watch this, I guess I always see him as the wise one, even more serious when the time called for it. Mm-hmm. But I guess seeing him being playful with the Force, I think it would be totally awesome. To be like, wow. That's what happens, huh? You know what I mean? He totally that's what happens. You get to have that much fun in the afterlife. Awesome,
Yeah.
Do you feel that Yoda will be the only one appearing, or will we have a Ghost Hayden Christensen or a Ghost Ewan McGregor kind of Alec Guinness stuff?
I definitely believe we're going to see, especially if they're talking about doing an Obi-Wan film. I think, because right now the only person who can play Obi-Wan is Ewan McGregor. I mean, whether you like the prequels or not, he is the only person on this planet that can play Obi-Wan and be accepted at this point. Now, as far as him being a Force ghost, I think we're going to see him as a Force, and I think it has solely to do with the Obi-Wan movie. And I think we were talking about the Obi-Wan movie earlier. I think they're going to hold off on the announcement for an Obi-Wan movie just yet. I don't think that's going to be the next one they announce. I think they do have it in their pipeline, but I think they want to wait and see, because I truly believe Obi-Wan's going to be in Episode 8, and I want to believe that they want to wait and see what our reaction is going to be as to Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan again. You know, even if they Alec Guinness him up before they give us the announcement for an Obi-Wan movie, because if everybody's like, "Oh God, he looks horrible as Obi-Wan now," they're gonna can the Obi-Wan movie. But that's just my opinion personally. So.
Well, love or hate the prequels, the one thing that everybody can agree about is that the one good thing that came out of the prequels was Ewan McGregor's performance as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Would you want to see Ewan playing the role physically in Episode 8, or would you rather him just do a voiceover like he did with the flashback of oh my God, Force Awakens? Eric?
Was that?
Would you want to see Ewan McGregor physically appear as Obi-Wan Kenobi as a Force Ghost in Episode 8? Or would you rather him just do like he did with The Force Awakens and just have a voiceover? Maybe just a voice heard in the distance.
I think his voice, I think, would be good. But it's going to be very hard to, make him the character that he was, as far as being a young Obi-Wan Kenobi compared to the original guy who played Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know if he's alive or dead, so you guys who are fanatics would know if he's alive still or he's, dead.
Alec Guinness is dead, yeah.
Alec Guinness has been dead longer than Peter Cushing, if I'm not
mistaken.
Yep.
Well, actually, we have Stephen Stanton now, who voiced Obi-Wan in Rebels, and he is spot on Ben Kenobi. He is. I mean, it's almost eerie to hear. It's spot on, scary, accurate.
Well, you also have Arnold Lord Taylor, who did Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, and I mean, he was pretty close to the Ewan McGregor performance, at least.
Yeah, very, very.
Well, here's a question, Christina. I'll pose it to you. They bring Ewan back and they Alec Guinness him up, but they do it in the same format that they did with bringing back Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One.
Ooh.
That's tricky. It depends how well they do it. Like, they were very smart with Rogue One, how they brought Peter Cushing, brought Grand Moff Tarkin back, because they used a lot of low light where you couldn't really tell as much as that was CGI. I mean, there were definitely scenes you can see that, okay, yeah, that something's not quite right there, but and anyone who knows what was going on knows that, knows Peter Cushing's been dead for years. But all in all, to bring that character back to the screen just was really amazing. And I think if they pull it off right and they do it the right way, where it doesn't look cheesy or fake, then yeah, I'm all for it. I think it'll look kind of cool. If they do it right, though. It has to be done. If it looks fake, then it's going to ruin the whole movie. Because the thing about Star Wars is things don't look fake in Star Wars. They go that extra mile. And that's, if they cheap out now, it's going to be bad. It's just not going to be right.
I agree.
All right, Mario, I'm going to pose a different question to you.
Okay.
We're still talking about Force Ghosts. But during the concept arts of The Force Awakens, there was a concept art of Hayden Christensen reprising a Force Ghost role of Anakin Skywalker, but kind of mutilated where he was half Darth Vader, half Anakin Skywalker. Do you think we would see something of that nature out of Anakin where he kind of fades in between the light and the dark side? Or do you think that maybe the dark side evil was powerful enough that it split itself?
Well, I think you need to really portray the fact that he really dwelled into the dark side. You know, that's one of the things that always bothered me from the Return of the Jedi is that he got redeemed so easily. Especially now that we're seeing all the stuff that he has committed as Vader, you're like, whoa, how did he get redeemed so easily? He slaughtered children, he slaughtered rebels, he killed a bunch of people, and then he's just redeemed like that. So I think one thing that they can really do is keep him cut in half, literally and metaphorically. Have that internal struggle still. You know, he's still fighting within himself. Like, even though he can't defeat either side, it's kind of like a yin-yang situation where he needs the dark side to be himself, and he also needs the light. And I think that way, he's going to be talking with Luke and Ben and Rey, and then he's also going to be talking with Kylo, you know, trying to bring him back and tell him, you know, cut what you're doing, you know, you're falling down a path that's just going to take you down the wrong side. But then again, he's going to have that dark side that really just pushes Kylo, you know, it's kind of just like, keep going, do what you have to do, you know, kill whoever you have to in order to really become as strong as I was. And I think that's really going to be portrayed really well, even if it's Hayden. I think if Hayden comes back to be the Force Ghost, I think Rian Johnson could really bring out a good performance in him to the fact, well, you need to have the Force Ghost of Anakin be somewhat saddened by what he sees in Kylo. Because Kylo is following, you know, his footsteps, but the wrong ones. He's following the dark path, and I want to see the effect that has on the Force Ghost of Anakin. You know, seeing your grandson following the bad side of everything you did. I think it'd be really interesting to see that. I think we'll see it.
All right. Who didn't I ask yet? I can't remember if I asked Matt. Okay, Matt. Playing off of what Mario said, do you think Anakin's Force Ghost does appear to Kylo Ren in a sense of kind of a Jacob Marley from the Christmas Carol of warning Ebenezer Scrooge that he'll be visited by three spirits and if he doesn't change his ways, he's going to wind up dead? Do you think that's going to be Anakin's Force Ghost role, and will it be played by Hayden Christensen, or will we ever finally see it?
If we do see it, I see them willing to take a risk with Hayden Christensen again, because we do know him as the young Anakin Skywalker. When he started going to the side, when he became more dramatic and went to the dark side, we got to see his stretch and his downfall. So, you know, give the guy a little credit, okay? And as far as, you know, being split into two different sides, and I gotta go with Mario. You're right. I never thought about it as much. I mean, as much evil as Darth Vader did commit, he got redeemed very easily. I mean, but yeah, he did help and destroy the Emperor. But yeah, he did do a lot of stuff. He had a lot of blood on his hands. So him being redeemed so easily. But we saw at the end of Return of the Jedi, he was a Force Ghost, and he was, you know, young Anakin. He was, for the original, was older Anakin Skywalker, and for the remakes, it made it younger Anakin Skywalker, so younger generation could identify with him. So him appealing to Kylo Ren like that, I could only see him, like you said, doing the Jacob Marley. He wouldn't come to him directly, like, you know, like, I'm here to guide you, to show you to the dark side. I'd see him saying, you don't need to look what it did to our family once, and look what you're doing to our family twice. Mm-hmm. Redeem yourself. Don't do, you know, don't do it cheesy with like the PSA, you know, give the rainbow and the star. No, don't do that. don't kill it for us, man. But give that heartfelt speech. Give Anakin that redemption speech that he never gave to Luke because he died. Let him give his grandson that one push to give him that one chance to bring him back to the side of light. Give him the big speech. You know what I mean? And there you go with the PSA music. There you go. But yeah, I say give him the big speech. I say give him the chance to bring the Skywalkers the redemption that they kind of need for, you know, okay, they were whiny, but they did save the universe, okay? If that's so horrible, forgive me. I mean, I know I've been on the opposite side of a lot of different people's views when it comes to this, but that's the way I see it.
All right. Well, Christina, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we're reaching our 45-minute mark, so I think it's about time for our first break.
Yeah, we are about there.
All right, so for our YouTube watchers, it's just going to be, a flash of the camera and we're back. But for RadioCast FM, we'll be right back after a couple of brief messages and a couple songs, so stay tuned. Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back. Hope you enjoyed that little break. We certainly did. Do I got white on my nose? Sorry. Anyway.
You're good, man.
Right here. A little bit right there. You got it.
A little right there? Yeah, all right, cool. All right, so anyway, we were talking Star Wars. We're still in a galaxy far, far away, hanging out in the cantina where Han definitely shot first. Guys, let's talk about it. Let's talk about extended universe versus current canon. We've been having conversations about the movies and everything else, which has been great, but there is a whole nother world to the Star Wars fandom, be it books, video games, comic books, fan fictions, all the like. There's another world of Star Wars that has really expanded this galaxy far, far away. For 30 years before the prequels and even during the prequels, we had nothing after Return of the Jedi except for books. Timothy Zahn's Hand of Thrawn series and the Heir to the Empire series, James Lucina's Darth Plagueis, and just so many iconic books and stories, and then some mishaps like Chewbacca being crushed by a moon. I'll leave that alone.
Yeah, we won't touch that one.
Yeah, no, I don't want to.
Sore spot.
But now with the new world under the House of Mouse, we've been getting brand new canon stories that follow along with the movies and tie into the universe. As of late, we've had like Lost Stars, we've had Bloodline, we've had Thrawn, which I know you just Thrawn. He's got right there, and I know Brian has just reviewed it on YouTube. Make sure you check that out. Right now I'm personally reading Heir to the Jedi.
That is the worst book ever written.
You know what?
It is so bad.
I'm enjoying the fact that it was written from Luke's perspective the whole time instead of being third person. That is something I am kind of enjoying about it.
He literally, I don't know how far you are in it, so I don't know if this is going to be a spoiler. It's not really giving anything away in the book. At one point, he walks in on an alien masturbating, so... Oh, I mean, it's pretty rough. It's not good. I like if it wasn't canon, I'd burn it. Jesus. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So alien masturbating is canon?
Yeah.
Wow.
I hate to say it, but yeah. Well, okay, wait. I don't mean to interrupt you because I know you were talking about this stuff, but real quick about Heir to the Jedi. It was actually the third book in a trilogy, and there was a Leia book, a Han book, and then this Luke book, and they were all going to be legends, but Luke just kind of got grandfathered in with the canon slate wipe because they were getting ready to, start everything over, and he was still in the middle of being published, so they just let it in, and they never should have done it. It's so bad. Anyway, I'm gonna beat a dead horse. Anybody who watches my YouTube channel knows how much I hate that book more than anything in this life. I mean, it is so bad. I'm sorry. I'll stop rambling.
Is it worse than the Christmas special?
Yeah. Yeah. At least I can still get some kind of entertainment out of the Christmas special. I mean, it took me 3 months to read Heir to the Jedi, and it was so bad. I mean, it was so bad. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I will state that. I mean, it's taken me a while to get through it, and it's really not a thick book. The storyline's really kind of boring.
Yeah.
But I'm reading it because it's canon, and I want to read canon. But you know, so I'm kind of forcing my way through it, kind of how I did with the Battlefront book. I really kind of forced that down like a bitter pill. Towards the end of it, it wasn't that terrible, but
yeah, it picked up in the last 7 or 8 chapters.
You know, but basically the story, the question I'm posing to the fan base here is, do you feel that there are certain expectations from the extended universe stories that we grew up with for 40 years that is expected to be seen again in the new canon? And do you think that the new canon is living up to expectations? I'll let the librarian start first. Canon library.
All right. Well, personally, as far as the EU goes, I've only ever read up to Kenobi. I got into the EU with Shadows of the Empire when I was a kid, fell in love with it, and then started reading all these old EU novels. And then it was, you know, one a week was coming out, and then you'd be able to go get the paperbacks and buzz through them pretty quick. But by the time I got to Kenobi, I went to the library to get the next book, and the librarian's like, which one do you want next? I'm like, what do you mean, which one? There's only one. She's like, no, there's like 4. And I'm like, are you serious? And then it got to the point where instead of like publishing one a week, it was, hey, let's do 3 today. Hey, let's do 6 today. Hey, let's do 75 of them before lunch. You know, like there was so many of them coming out that I just couldn't keep up with them. So I've only read up through Kenobi. But as far as the canon stuff goes, I've read every single piece of it so far. But which one is better? Just from what I've read of the EU, yeah, there are a lot of memorable stories in the EU, but we have to remember that there were so many levels of canon back then. There was like 6 or 7 different levels of canon where you didn't know what actually did happen, what didn't, you know, stuff like that. And none of the books really, I don't want to say they didn't reference themselves, but they didn't acknowledge each other. There were so many continuity issues in the timeline itself that just it was getting convoluted. Too many hands in the cookie jar trying to, you know, make a good story. And granted, as standalone stories, I thought they were all, most of them were fantastic. But I mean, when you look at it, if you start at the beginning and read all the way through, it gets to the point where you're like, none of this makes any sense. You know, at least with the new canon now, you can start with, you know, Darth Maul issue number 1 and go through every single piece of it, piece by piece, all the way up through Force Awakens. You know, and it all makes sense. It all ties together.
Matt, in the EU world, there from Dark Horse Comics, there was Darth Maul, son of Dathomir. The only extended universe storyline that has remained canon. Do you feel that there are other things in the extended universe that should be canon or could finally become canon in its original format?
Absolutely. There's a lot of different side characters who I fell in love with that even if they had like a small, like, you know, short story, because there was like, you know, my personal favorites was the Tales from Jabba's Palace and Stories from the Cantina. I love those books. I read through them like 3 times a piece because it was fun for me. I'd love to see any of those characters. Not even if they have to like do like a movie about, you know, the little blurbs and make it like a Pulp Fiction type thing, like, but how it all kind of ties together in with all different characters. I'd love to see that too. I mean, like they kind of like they did with Rogue One with, oh look, there's Dr. Ezban and Ponda Baba. Oh look, there's what's his name, and it's like, oh okay, now that makes sense, and now we know what they were doing a couple of hours late before. So yeah, it'd be great. You know, why not weave a couple of those characters together and build a movie or an idea out of that as well, like they've done. So yeah, bring in the extended universe. Bring in, you know, let's bring it all together. Why not? They're interesting characters. They shouldn't suffer just because Disney wants to play favorites or pick and choose what they want. We're the fans. We've been there for years. You guys, you know, said, hey, we want a piece of the franchise. We want that money. Guess what? We wanted the information in the heart first, so let us have our due.
Eric, I know you're not much into the books and comics and stuff of the Star Wars universe. However, I will pose this question to you. With a modern canon, would you be interested in a book maybe of characters that you currently have gotten to know maybe in a spin-off movie, say maybe a kind of buddy road movie of or book of Cassian and K2SO leading up to Rogue One.
Yeah, definitely I would. You know, I'm not much of a book person, like you said. You know, I've only got one book in my possession, so it has nothing to do with Star Wars. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh,
Chris knows.
yeah. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Christina, when will they make Darth Revan canon?
Better do it sooner than later, because I think the whole Revan storyline is amazing. And it's something that really should be brought into canon. I mean, he was literally imprisoned by the Emperor. His mind was actually imprisoned by the Emperor, so let me correct that first. Went to evil, went to the dark side, came back to the light side again, and was conflicted the entire... shows that conflict so well, even after death. I mean, and they touched on that in the Old Republic video game with the whole Shadows of Revan series, where Revan, his spirit is back, but he's still turmoil and he's causing more damage than good because the dark side is winning and he's still fighting himself because of what the Emperor did to him. So I think the Revan storyline is amazing and it needs to become canon. So hopefully soon.
All right. Mario.
Okay,
You are our prequel guy, so I will definitely ask this of you. I don't know if you've read any of the extended universe prequel stuff. You know, like what was it, like Cloak of Deception, the Darth Plagueis trilogy, stuff of that nature. But would you want to see any of that turn canon, or would you like to see current canon take a stab at the prequel eras?
Well, yeah, I have read some of the old EU, mainly just the ones that I talk to people who have read them, and they say, oh, read these and stay away from these. So I haven't read any of the bad ones, thankfully. Yeah, I've heard about the Chewbacca with the moon, and then I've also heard about, I forgot the name of the droid, but the red droid in A New Hope. The one that originally gets picked by,
R5.
Yeah.
R5.
Yeah. How, like, supposedly he was sent to, he was purposely supposed to malfunction, that way R2 could get chosen, and that way it could set in motion everything. So yeah, I've heard most of the old EU stuff, most of the bad stuff, and the good stuff. I have read Cloak of Deception and the Plagueis books. The Plagueis books, I think, really should become canon. Palpatine is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, and I want to learn more about how he got into power, you know? That's one of the things that really interests me, and the Plagueis novel does that so well. It really explains, you know, Plagueis and Palpatine himself. But, like you guys, I have read most of the new canon. The only things I haven't read yet are... I haven't finished Thrawn, and I haven't read the new Rogue One books that are coming out, the Guardian of the Wills, and... What was the other
Rebel Rising.
There you go.
Yep.
I haven't read those yet. But I actually think it's a good idea what Disney is doing. What they're doing so far, to me, is working. They're choosing what works, and they're changing it to fit the story. That's one of the big problems with the old EU, or at least I've heard, and I've just, concluded myself. The fact is that they had no story group. No one was saying, okay, you can't do this, or that doesn't make sense with this book, so you don't do that. It was just free reigns, It was like if the six of us are like, okay, we got characters from Star Wars, go write a story. Sometimes they might conflict with each other if no one's there, giving us guidelines that you can't pass this or you can't do that. So I actually think Disney is doing a better job with the new canon. The fact that everything feels connected, and if you are a canon junkie, like most of us are, it only enhances your viewings of the movies. So that's one of the good things that Disney is doing. They're making sure that the canon is adding to the movies. It's not detracting from them. But yeah, I really think that they need to be a little bit more open about bringing characters from the old EU into the new canon. One of the three characters that I always say that need to be brought back is Darth Nihilus, Mara Jade, and as always, I've always wanted this. I guess we kind of got it with Kylo Ren, but I wanted the Han Solo his kids. But I mean, we kind of got that.
All right. Well, during the extended universe, there was a book series known as the New Jedi Order. During that book series, the galaxy had faced its first real test since the Sith and the remnants of the Empire, in the form of an alien race that was basically immune to the Force, known as the Yuuzhan Vog. Would you want to see this storyline or this race of being return to canon? And if not, what would you like to see return to canon besides Revan, as we discussed?
Well, yeah, I have read the storyline with the Yuuzhan Vog, and I think that is a really interesting alien race that they could bring in. Or maybe if they don't bring in them exactly, like Disney does, they update the characters from canon to make them fit into the new canon. But that'd be really interesting to see in a movie or in a book. I think it would be better to see in a movie because we haven't seen anything like that aside from characters who know the Force and they're not that easily tricked by it. But it would be really interesting to see the Yuuzhan Vog. And I actually read a theory. I want to tell you guys this about that Snoke is a Yuuzhan. He's very similar to a Yuuzhan Vog, or the new version of one of them. And that he's been watching, he's been in deep space, just watching everything. That he's been around, he knows everything, and that he's watching this. It's another Snoke theory to add to the other 5,000. But like I said, Mara Jade, I think she really needs to come back. Thrawn was one of them, but he's back, so.
Mm-hmm.
Not his time, but he's definitely back.
Oh yeah. Close.
All right.
Yeah, that's all I can think of off the top of my head.
All right, Christina, let me paint the scene for you. The infamous line in the Last Jedi's teaser trailer where Luke Skywalker proclaims that it's time for the Jedi to end. For this hypothetical question, let's pretend that line is exactly correct, and by the end of the trilogy, there will be no more Jedi Knights in the galaxy. There will always be Force users because it's an inherent power, but there will be no more organized Force users within the galaxy. Then we come with the new trilogy, and the threat is an alien from unknown space, and the only ones who could stop them is if we rebirth the Force user. Could you see that being a storyline of introducing the Yuuzhan Vog?
It seems a little out there, to be honest. I think to get more introduction of Grey Jedi and making them truly canon would be more realistic.
It'll never be canon. It'll never be canon.
I beg to differ. I think it will be.
I'm completely gay, but I still like pussy. No, it doesn't happen. Hey, Jedi do not exist. And I know that's one for me. I use the P word.
Wow.
No, go ahead. Finish your point. I'm sorry. It's just
No.
balls my skin when people talk about Grey Jedi. Don't exist.
That's why I said it, actually, because I knew it was going to get under your skin. Congratulations, you just got trolled.
Thank you.
All I have to say is, those who watch our YouTube channel, you've got to see his reaction. Just watch his screen. You can literally see a physical reaction in his face, and as he morphed into a 9-year-old too, and just did this. Literally, I'm sitting here going, "Wow, fat Christina, thank you for that." I think this evening. I think that's my favorite part of this broadcast tonight.
Okay, so let's be serious about this question now. I don't know about that storyline necessarily. It seems like it could be a little far-fetched, and it seems a lot of it is rehashing already canon. The Jedi Order has already died, and it's coming back. It started coming back with Luke, and then obviously it faded back out again. What happened in those 30 years is something that needs to be explored. But You know, it went from here, all dead, to Luke being in isolation, to possibly another resurgence of the Jedi. So it's. I just think if they do that again, it's just like it's rechewing the same story over and over again. If I wanted to see the same story over and over again, I could go watch Star Trek. Like, really. So, that's all I'm going to say.
DC Lord, if you're listening.
Shots fired at the Trekkers.
Shots fired at America's Pop Culture Magazine.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Star Trek was a show I could never get into. It was, you know, it's about a womanizing captain who wants to sleep with blue women. I just can't get into it. I'm sorry.
They were green. My wife. I'm glad you guys can't pick up the mic because she is about to start spitting fire.
We picked her up earlier.
It's mixed marriage, you know.
Ryan, I'm going to propose a question to you to settle a dispute we had actually, I think, 2 shows ago.
Okay.
When we were talking about current canon as opposed to extended universe.
Okay.
So prequel books,
Mhm.
episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, the novelization.
The novelizations, these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canon? Still canon or the extended universe only?
Okay, hang on.
The original trilogy was books were recanonized, but were
Thank
the
you, babe.
prequel.
Sorry, my door was opening. I thought one of my cats was trying to get in, and it was my fiance giving me a drink. Okay. So the question was, I almost broke her arm off with the door. So the question was, if those novels are actually canon or not, right?
Yes, we know that the original trilogy was recanonized and re-released as canon.
Right.
Are the prequels still considered canon as in forms of the novel?
The novelizations themselves are not. Not under the main umbrella. At this point, I hate to say it because there's not levels of canon, but they're technically pseudo-canon at this point. Because the way they described it with the Episode 7 novelization and the Rogue One novelization were that where those books differ from the movie, like as far as dialogue goes, the movie trumps, but anything that happened in those books that wasn't in the movie is still canon. But they said it was only The Force Awakens and Rogue One. As far as the novelizations for 1, 2, and 3, I always thought they were, because I really wanted the Episode 3 novelization to be canon, just because there was one scene in that book that I absolutely wished to God was in the movie, and it was essentially Obi-Wan telling Padme that he had always known about her and Anakin, and he never said anything, never told anybody, because it made Anakin happy, and that was what was most important to him. And the dialogue was beautifully written in that particular scene, and it was like halfway through the book also. It wasn't even when Anakin turned to the dark side, it was well before that. But those novelizations, as much as I wish they were, they're not at this point. We may get novelizations, official novelizations, somewhere down the road, but the only novelizations of movies right now are, and I looked it up after we did our War of the Stars podcast. It's Episode 7, Rogue One, and then there's 3 Lucasfilm Press novels that they came out with that are geared more towards young adults. They're novelizations of the original Star Wars movies for young adults, and they're just horrible. I mean, they're bad. I have them, but they are so bad. The first, A New Hope, is called The Princess, the Scoundrel, and the Farm Boy. It's broken into 3 parts, where they tell the first part from Leia's point of view, the second part is from Han's point of view, and the third part's Luke's point of view. And then the second one is called The Empire Strikes Back. Is called So You Want to Be a Jedi, and it's written like you are Luke Skywalker, and you are going through all of these events, and there's little lessons in between chapters to be Jedi. And then Return of the Jedi was Beware the Power of the Dark Side, and it was just, I wanted to stick my fingers through my eyes into my brain and swirl them around. It was that bad. It's just, but yeah, it's brutal.
It sounds brutal. Even the title, when you said the title for that, You Want to Be a Jedi, all I can think of is Frozen, Do You Want to Build a Snowman? That's the only song that just pop up in my head.
So you want to be a Jedi?
Exactly. Oh my God.
I love it. That was
Do
so
you
messed
want to
up.
use a lightsaber?
I know, right?
All right. Well, it breaks my heart to hear that the novelizations of the prequel trilogy are not canon, because one of the things that really stuck out in my mind, again, was from Episode Three's book, Revenge of the Sith. The opening, the way it was told about the legend of Anakin and Obi-Wan and how they were perceived by the rest of the galaxy as these true heroes among the Jedi. You know, they were almost like folklore legends to most of the masses. And the way it was presented was so beautiful and captivating that even though I read the book anyway, I had already seen the movie. I knew how it played out, but it really drug me into the book.
It was very Shakespearean.
Yeah, and it really breaks my heart that those are no longer canon. Yeah. But posing to you the same question before we move on to everybody else, posing the same question to you, do you feel that it would be a positive or a smart thing to bring the Yuuzhan Vong back into the canon galaxy?
When I read the series with the Yuuzhan Vong in it, to me it felt more of a, and I'm probably going to tick some people off when I say this, but to me it felt more like a cop-out, almost like nobody could really think of anything else to happen in a galaxy of storytelling. There's no other stories you could tell in a galaxy. You had to have creatures from another galaxy come into this galaxy. Yeah, you know what I mean? But I like the dynamic of, you know, it was creatures they'd never been up against before, and I didn't like the idea of the Force, them being immune to the Force. The Force wasn't constricted to one galaxy. The Force surrounds all living things, you know, and that's why I never liked the Ysalamiri and the Thrawn trilogy, the lizard creatures that repelled the Force. I never cared for those, but it felt more like a cop-out to me, really. I'm really prone to agree with Mario about Snoke, actually. I've actually thought about the exact same thing before, thinking hopefully maybe Snoke is actually from outside the galaxy, you know, and he's the new version of the Yuuzhan Vong. That would be freaking awesome. I would lose my mind if that was the case. But I really don't think they need to bring him in to the new canon. I really don't think there's any room for him, to be honest.
All right, Eric, I'm going to saving Matt for last because I know Matt will probably want to go off at this. Eric, would you want to see something like a Yuuzhan Vong introduced into the Star Wars universe, something stronger than a Jedi or a Sith?
I would have to say I'm like stuck in the middle of my answer, but I wouldn't mind him. And it's like certain characters you would like to see them, you know, evolve. You know, but it's very hard because if you got too many characters, you know, you got to select certain ones that are really striving and build with them. You know, you can have 20 characters, and how many of them 20 are going to be the main, you know, that are going to stick out, and you know they're going to get people more drawn into it. You know, I guess I'm going to have to start picking up some Star Wars books to read, I guess, to understand a little bit more.
If the extended universe is pretty cheap, you can get them in most thrift stores.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. I'm not even going to bother phrasing it into a question for you. I know you're just ready to go off. So.
Thank you very much. You finally opened the gate for me. Okay. Yuuzhan Vong, like you said, it is a bit of a cop-out. It's so unfair. They had to come up with some sort of idea of an otherworldly creature just to conquer something that was that's everywhere. That's literally described as everywhere, everything, and everything in between that. Give me a break. Come on, man. You gotta. Really, that's like, okay. It's like Bigfoot did it. I don't know. You know, just throw something really weird out there. But I like Mario's idea about, you know, Emperor Snoke, like, you know, being a version of that. Yeah, that works. But the fact that they brought in these lizard creatures just to counterbalance the Force, because, you know, we couldn't come up with another idea because, you know, the idea of two opposite sides constantly fighting was getting boring. So we're just going to, you know, come up with something really outlandish, and we're just going to make that flag, and we'll be okay with that. Yeah, we're gonna patch that hole up right there. Nah, not sold on it. Not sold on it at all. So, you know, that's me being nice about it, Chris. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go off. I'm not doing it. Not doing it because I'm gonna try and make it through this podcast. I'm gonna try and make it, man. I'm not gonna throw the tantrum, nor am I gonna slip the F-bomb. So, there you go.
Episode 10 from Out of an Unknown Space of the Galaxy is the Yusan Vog, which is really not a race of creature, but a race of being that uses the Force, known as the Grey Jedi.
Oh!
You're welcome. Mario, I proposed this question to you on our break, and I'm going to throw it out to everybody, but I'm going to start with you. Being our youngest panel member right now, you grew up with the prequel trilogy, where majority of us, we first introduced for the Galaxy Far, Far Away with the original 4, 5, and 6. Now, we all know nothing will ever touch what the original trilogy has done. Anybody who actually believes that we'll have another Empire Strikes Back ever is just, they're kidding themselves and setting up for a letdown. However, there are people who love the prequels, people who hate the prequels. Be that as it may, it is still Star Wars, it is still Star Wars canon, it still has nostalgia value for a lot of people. Do you feel so far this new trilogy, the sequels and the spin-offs, are living up to at least the prequels' legacy or surpassing it?
Well, judging from the 2 movies we've gotten so far, I really have to say I would rather watch, if I had to choose Force Awakens or Episode 1, I would definitely choose Force Awakens. Just because I feel that it has, for me, the biggest thing that I didn't like about the prequels was just the fact that a lot of the storylines we got seemed just to waste time. Like, most of the storylines that we got seemed to just run into dead ends. Like, my biggest point is Episode 2, everything we had with Sifo Dyas. You get introduced to this interesting storyline about a secret clone army, and then it just gets forgotten about. And to me, that was the biggest letdown about Episode 2. That you get introduced to this storyline, and then it never finished. You never really understand what happens unless you watch the Clone Wars. And I think that's what the new trilogy is doing really well. The fact is that they're making sure that the movie itself is self-contained. It doesn't need everything else to actually. It doesn't need a cartoon to make sure that you get the movie. The movie itself, it's a self-contained movie. Whether you love the movie or hate it. Personally, I enjoy it. Yeah, it pretty much is a revamp of Episode 4, but I still admire the new things in it, to the point where I could say that, yeah, I enjoy the movie. With Rogue One, Rogue One was something completely different. We haven't seen nothing like that before. So it's kind of difficult to compare it to the prequel trilogy as much, but I would like to say that right now I think Disney is making better movies than the prequels were. And I think that the sequel trilogy and the spin-offs will be remembered way in better taste than the prequel trilogy were. But I fear one of the things that is happening to The Force Awakens is that it's been over a year since it came out. And at first everyone was loving the movie, everyone was saying how Star Wars is back and that Force Awakens is way better than all the prequel movies. But then here we are over a year later and people are coming out saying that the movie sucks. You know, all this new hate is growing for The Force Awakens now after, it's been out for over a year. So I fear that the new movies are going to come out and wow everyone the first year, and then after a year, after people have time to really dissect the movie, they're just going to find really nitpicky things to complain and just hate on the movies. Just because it's Disney and it's not the same people behind it, I think. So I think,
I can attest to that, because I remember it took me about 8-9 watches of the Phantom Menace before I really started nitpicking things like Jar Jar Binks and midi-chlorians. And the first like 8 viewings, I remember I was just thrilled that there was a Star Wars movie, and of course relishing on the lightsaber battle of Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul, which up until that point in the Star Wars universe, we've never seen anything like that, So I remember once the flash and flare kind of wore off, that's when I realized, the storyline's a little weak, and the hell are midichlorians? You know what I mean?
I can't believe it took you eight times to start getting annoyed with Jar Jar Binks. I think I was annoyed with him by my end of my first viewing of that movie.
Well, again, I looked at Jar Jar Binks as Star Wars has always had that goofy, stupid character. You know, whether it was like the Wilhelm scream that's overused to hell, you know, or some silly thing like Salacious Crumb, there was always some sort of annoying character comedy relief. You know, so I was able to excuse Jar Jar as Jar Jar is just there. You know, it's kind of like the big oversized monster that appears in every movie that really doesn't fit, like the Rathars or Porcoli or whatever else. You know, it's kind of a staple. You just kind of get used to it. The only thing that really, really pissed me off about the Phantom Menace was trying to quantify the Force.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely get where he's coming from as far as like the new trilogy. I do see like a lot of people hating on the fact that it's a rehash of Episode 4. I'm fine with that because Episode 1 was a rehash of Episode 4 in its own way, and Lucas did that on purpose. They're supposed to rhyme with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm absolutely fine with that, but I agree with Mario in the sense that, you know, Force Awakens did introduce a lot of good things, and if nothing else, and Brian, this is going to now segue to you, you know, one of the things that I think Force Awakens did masterfully is we walked out of that theater just like we did with Empire Strikes Back, wondering a lot of questions unanswered. We walked out of Empire saying, is Darth Vader really Luke's father, or was he bullshitting? You know, now we walk out of Force Awakens, is Rey a Skywalker? Is she a Kenobi? Who's Snoke? Do you think the sequels are definitely living up to at least the legacy of the prequel era?
Personally, how old was I when Episode 1 came out? That was 1999,
yep.
May of 99, so I'd have been going on 12 years old. No, I was going on 11. I was 10 years old when Episode 1 came out. And even at 10 years old, I watched Episode 1 and went, what the hell is this? I mean, not in those words, obviously, but I was like looking at it like, okay, well, that was all right, because leading up to the movie, I was so excited. And then saw Episodes 2 and 3, and I was just like, yeah, Episode 2 is my least favorite Star Wars movie ever. I can't stand Episode 2. But anyway, 3 is good. 3 is tolerable in my book. But like you said earlier, they are still Star Wars movies. They are still canon. You know, they're that annoying cousin at your family reunion that you hate him to death, but he's still your freaking family. You know, and it's just, you know, and if I had to choose between watching any of the prequel movies, even any of them, or watching Episode 7, it would be Episode 7 or Rogue One for that matter. It's just personally, and this isn't me jumping on some bandwagon. I've watched it so many times. It's unreal. I've thought about it. I've analyzed it. Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars movie now. I know a lot of people had a lot of problems with it being too slow and everything like that, you know, in the middle. But, I mean, that movie made up for it in the long run, in my opinion. I loved Rogue One. So as far as what Disney is doing now, I think it's in better hands now than it ever has been before. I think the movies are in the best hands ever.
Christina, are the prequels really as much of a flop as people make them out to be?
I didn't mind Phantom Menace. I'm gonna be honest. The first and third ones were okay. The second one, I really couldn't get into the second one. It was kind of just bad. I'm sorry, it was just kind of bad. Like, but yeah, it is canon. It is part of the Star Wars universe, but it's still bad. Like, I can't.
There were some qualities like Obi-Wan's kind of detective run. I thought that was kind of intriguing.
The best part about Episode 2, honestly, was when they walk into the bar and the guy goes, "You want to buy some death sticks? You don't want to buy me death sticks. I don't want to sell you death sticks. You want to go home and rethink your life. I'm going to go home and rethink my life." That was just funny.
I really thought for a second you were going to say the best part of Episode 2 is the rolling credits at the end. I really thought for a second you were going to say that.
That was the second best part. Sorry.
Ouch.
So you didn't like finally seeing what we've all dreamt about as kids growing up, and that's finally seeing Yoda ignite a lightsaber and go to town.
I did enjoy it, but however, just the movie's just really it could have been so much better. I'll just put it that way. Episode 2 could have been so much better, but I don't know what happened. I don't know what they did or what drugs they were on or whatever, but to screw it up. But something was not right. And I walked in there like I have a bad feeling about this.
Wow.
Matt.
Yes.
Yeah, now I'm not going to touch on how would you fix the prequels, or do you think the sequels are kind of a fix to the prequels, because that's supposed to be for War of the Stars this coming week.
Oh, yeah.
So, do you think the sequels have the chance of erasing the bad taste in the mouth of the prequels?
Actually, I think they can, because I think they got like I said before and early in the show, they're in the proper hands at this point. They've got the backing they need. They're letting the fans not know about everything that they're doing, but they're taking the ideas that the fans have and said, "Hey, this is what we do want to see." So, and with Disney, the sky's the limit. So I'm sorry, that's the fact, is with Disney, the sky's the limit, so they can make it. But as far as, like you said, with lightning in a bottle earlier, that ain't gonna happen again. I don't care how good Disney thinks they are, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna erase what Lucas originally did. Even though I know, but you know what I'm saying with the original trilogy. I did like the prequels. I mean, the first one, we got to see Anakin's pod race. We got to see Darth Maul's lightsaber duel. So I like that part. Jar Jar Binks, yeah, annoying as hell. Ugh. Hard to hear that voice for too long. You're like, okay, just mute this part. Just mute this part. We can. I'll read the lips. I'll consent to that. And then we'll get to the next part. The second movie. Sorry, I got to see a young Boba Fett. Fett's my man. So sorry. And yes, they didn't go anywhere with the storyline. You're right. You're absolutely right. We got to find all these interesting facts, and they kind of just swept it away with the rain that kind of fell over Kenobi on the Comedian's planet. You know what I'm saying? But we also got to see that epic love, at least some sort of a love story between Padme and Anakin, kind of.
If that's what you call that, I've seen more rants and more romance than some of the one-night stands I've had in my life.
I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, we know. Oh yeah, we know. Thank you, Chris. Is that paternity test? What? Do you get them in bulk?
He has a punch card from Maury. You didn't know?
Oh, okay. Oh my God.
43 states have my DNA on file. Yeah.
Your freezer full of vials of spit.
Oh my God.
All right, you need one here.
All right, we're at 42. We're at 42 minutes now. So Eric, we'll let you go ahead and say your piece on this. Do you think the sequels will surpass what the prequels have at least done, or do you think they even have a chance of touching the original trilogy?
They're not going to be able to touch the original trilogy of 4, 5, and 6. The prequels, they were okay. I mean, I can kind of agree with it. They had their own. They had their stories, but they were kind of like, Matt saying, what was exciting, besides, in the first one, we had the lightsaber fight. I mean, that's what I was really looking forward in the Phantom Menace. It was like the sword fight, lightsabers. We're so used to, from 4, 5, and 6 with lightsabers, you must got to see a lot of it. Phantom Menace, it was just at the very end, it led up to a good fight scene. I think that actually won an award for that. It was one of the best fight scenes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, we'll go ahead and we'll take our quick break, and then we'll be back for our saying our farewells and letting everybody know about everything, and of course our movie picks of the week. So stay tuned, RadioCast FM. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. I hope RadioCast FM actually kept it a little Star Wars theme for us on our final episode of Star Wars special here on Breaking the Fourth Wall. I want to go ahead and thank our panel this week. Very awesome to hang out with my brothers from War of the Stars. They can be heard on YouTube. They haven't really gotten a home page yet. I don't know if Mark's created that yet, but they are being showcased on Breaking the Fourth Wall's YouTube channel. So go ahead down the playlist, and you'll find the first episode of War of the Stars there. But before we go, as we always do, we like to give a movie of the week for you guys to go check out, things that we love and enjoy. The past couple weeks, because it's been all Star Wars episodes, we've been giving kind of Star Wars reference stuff. This week, it was Christina's suggestion that this week's movie picks will be our favorite of the Star Wars movies. 1 through 8, the Christmas episode, the Ewok Adventure.
Wow.
The cartoon Clone Wars movie, which is still arguably which is worse, Episode 2 or the Clone War movie. Anyway, I don't want to influence anybody's suggestions. Eric, what's your pick of the week?
I'm going to say Return of the Jedi.
All right, what's your reading?
You should know.
Ewok. Always the Ewoks.
I was going back to those killer Care Bears.
No, what did I call them? Cannibalistic Care Bears.
Yeah, that was it.
All right. Christina, your choice of the week.
I'm going to go with Rogue One. I'm going to
I see you just pissed off Brian.
I'm sorry. No, I loved
What's
Rogue One. Like, I haven't flipped out that much in a movie. Like, I think I flipped out more watching Rogue One, especially with the re-editions of some of our favorite characters, like Grand Moff Tarkin, young Leia, Vader. And seeing just Vader's entry into the blockade runner was just insane. So, definitely Rogue One.
All right, Mario.
Well, I'm gonna go with my favorite Star Wars movie, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna take someone else's. Empire Strikes Back. If you want to get something that really delves into the characters and a darker Star Wars story, this is definitely the one for you.
All right, Ryan.
Can we pick one that somebody else has already picked?
Nah.
Believe it or not, it's not Rogue One.
Go ahead. What's your choice?
I'm going to go with Return of the Jedi as well. Just mainly because of the final climactic lightsaber battle with Luke and Vader going down, with Vader taunting Luke underneath that stairway, that platform, oh, you have a sister, so, and just, it's my favorite monologue from Vader ever. That's my favorite Vader quote. And then that Luke just losing his mind and going after him, man. I love it. It's just, I love it. I'm going Return of the Jedi.
All right. Matt.
Yes. I'm going to go with the one that started it all for all of us. Star Wars, A New Hope. That's always been my favorite. I'm sorry, just watching the characters go through what they started, seeing them at their very beginning, seeing the humble beginnings of everything, where it all started for all of us, seeing how the character, it was just even at just where they were at, the fruitful, the colorful characters and everything that was just there. It wasn't just standard humans in costumes. It was actual different creatures. So that's why I love it the most.
I'm going to choose the one that has the greatest love story ever told. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Oh, jeez.
I guess by default I'm going to choose Revenge of the Sith. The story of the true downfall of Anakin Skywalker. It is the best of the prequel movies. You don't have any Jar Jar. There's no midichlorian conversations. You have that great scene of did you ever hear the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? And of course that epic battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader on Mustafar, which is the end result of what finally put Darth Vader into the Iron Lung. it definitely tied up where everything was going to head within the original trilogy. So I will give the recommendation to Revenge of the Sith this week. Matt, where can they find you if they want to talk to you?
If they want to find me, I'm the easiest to find. I'm on Facebook. You can find me at Matthew Cruz, Matt with 2 T's. Or if you want to just send me an email, just say hi, what's up, what's new, and I'm a fan. You can find me at Fox with 2 X's, C77 at gmail.com.
All right, Brian, where can they find you?
You can find me simply on YouTube at the Star Wars Canon Library. There's a website to go along with it of the same name, StarWarsCanonLibrary.com. Mainly just keep all the canon material in chronological order as far as timeline goes and reviews on a lot of it. And I also have an email set up. You guys can ask any questions as far as Star Wars canon goes. It's just StarWarsCanonLibrary at gmail.com. And a Facebook page to go with it as well. It's just Facebook.com/Star Wars Canon Library. I know, real original. So, but yeah, it's all there. So.
All right, and with Brian and also with Mario could also be found on War of the Stars podcast, which debuted last week and will be debuting again this Thursday at pretty much the same time as this is released on RadioCast FM. But where else can they find you, Mario?
You can find me on my YouTube channel at SithLord310, and you can also follow me on Twitter at the same name, and as Christopher said, on War of the Stars.
There you go. Christina, where can they find you? Time for the laundry list.
Oh, yeah, the laundry list time. I'm on Facebook under Christina Talley Warburton, Warburton, because I know people can't spell my last name for some reason. I also have a Facebook page for my radio show, which is Eclectica Radiocast FM, with a little @ symbol in front of it, I guess. Also, I have a Twitter account set up, which is Eclectica FM as well. So if you use Twitter instead of Facebook, you can find me there and everything about my show. Also, I'm also on Xbox Live a lot as Kava space Biodira, Biodira, and also if you want to email me, which that's fine too. My email is Christina_Talley at yahoo.com. Tali, not Y. Tali. So,
Eric, where can they find you?
Okay, you can find me on Xbox One at Smoke1437. You can also find me on Facebook at Eric J. Batista Sr. And then hopefully in a month or so, I should have my own podcast channel for the podcast for radio music.
Your radio show.
Your radio show. All right, you can find me on Facebook at Christopher Michael Stolley, Chris Wild or DJ Wild, at DJ Wild on Twitter, Wild High 77 on Twitch TV. Of course, you can find me here on Breaking the Fourth Wall podcast on YouTube. You can also find me on Raise the Underground every Monday night on RadioCastFM.com. Speaking of Xbox, do you guys own Xbox Ones over there, Brian and Mario?
I've got a PS4 actually.
Same. PS4.
Yeah, I went to the dark side, so yeah.
Christina, Eric, and I were talking about setting up a Battlefront tournament with all of us and putting it up on the channel.
That'd be cool.
So, but you guys had to go buy the wrong.
I know.
Actually, the funny thing is, I want to touch about that before we leave, since we've got a couple minutes left. The reason why I went Xbox was because of the really bad experience I had with Sony Online Entertainment with Star Wars Galaxies. So, just putting that there. I have this thing about buying anything Sony at this point because of how badly that game got really just destroyed. And SOE's legacy of destroying really good MMOs. So, just want to put that out
and
there.
on that, we're also going to remind you that the primary core panelists of Breaking the Fourth Wall, which is myself, Matt, Christina, and Eric, are going to be live in Feasterville at Comic Collections on May 13th. By the time you hear this podcast, it'll be literally a week away. We will be recording live at Comic Collections starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. and it will be recorded for Radiocast FM, so you will be able to hear yourself on Radiocast that following Thursday. Make sure you come out and hang out with us. We're going to have some cool prizes, play some games, and get to see a live podcast being recorded right in front of you. So come be part of the fun.
Also,
guys, thank you.
I want to say one thing beforehand. Also, on that same day, if you check the Breaking the Fourth Wall page, which I'm sure Chris can give the address because I don't remember it, we will be, Matt and myself, will be doing a live stream for our trip from Delaware to Feasterville to comic collections, so we can. It'll be kind of fun. So that'll just be a little bit behind the scenes humor for people on Facebook, but it's something we will be doing as well.
Yeah, so you guys can see that it's actually not a thing for the camera. We actually do get along, or at least those two do. Guys, thank you very much. It's been awesome the last couple of talking Star Wars. Most of us are going to be talking again Thursday anyway for the next War of the Stars, where Mark Foley is going to have us see if we can fix the prequels. So, guys,
boy.
And I will be debuting on that on Thursday as well. So
there you go. So until then, it's the final time I get to say it on Breaking the Fourth Wall here. May the Force be with you.